Hello, welcome back to A Day Full of Budgets. A slightly different video from me today. It's one that I've been speaking about in my last few videos. We've made some very big purchases this month, and I'm just going to talk you through how we intend to pay for it all. So I'll talk through what we've bought or in the process of buying, and then I'll show you how I've worked out how we're going to pay for it. So here goes. Right, so first is, not too bad, a TV unit. So we are in the process of doing our living room. We've been in our house for 8 years. We've been renovating for 7.5 years. And the living room is the last room that needs completely gutting and redoing, which we've been doing slowly, but we've got to the final kind of fixtures and fittings. So we have purchased a TV unit from IKEA. It's black, it's lovely. We have also purchased a carpet, which is being fitted next week, and that's 1,250. The room is like a long rectangular room, so the amount of carpet lengthwise is quite big. Width isn't, so we'll have a lot of leftovers, but length is quite a big room. And then we need to pay £122 to have it fitted, which is quite good. We've bought that through Tappy. We've had 4 carpets already from them upstairs, and the landing stairs, the kids' room, our room. So we're really pleased with them. So we've got that coming next week. We have also just changed the car. So we've spent £4,000 and a trade-in of my 11-year-old VW Golf. I think it's about 11 years old. And we've changed, which was an automatic, and we've changed it for a manual Fiesta, which is, I think, maybe 5 years old, or 6. So yeah, a lot newer. And then my son can learn to drive in it. We needed to change the other car anyway, because there was lots of things going wrong with it. It'd done a lot of miles. So we kind of thought, well, if we're going to change the car, we'll change it for a manual, and then he can do some driving in it. So that was £4,000. I done a good deal on that one. And then we've got, so I've put laser hair this side, because I'm repaying that separately. So that's something I booked a while ago. That's for me. And then we have purchased a TV. Now, this is an extortionate amount of money, I know. It's £1,899. Now, this was a completely unexpected expense. And the reason that we've done it is, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I suffer with chronic migraine. I've been chronic for quite a few years. So I've always had migraines, very debilitating migraines. So every symptom I get, and I literally am no good for anything, because I lose my vision, I get paralysis, I lose my sight, I get it all. Did I say vision? Vision, sight, it's the same thing. Vomit, pain, everything. So yeah, I've been medicated most of my life, and in 2020 when COVID hit, I got COVID quite early, so end of March, and then I was hospitalised in the May, because I couldn't shift it. So I kept having new fresh migraines every day for about 9 days. The out-of-hours doctor overdosed me on triptan medication, and yeah, they ended up sending an ambulance because I was in the bathroom banging my head against the wall in a complete state. Anyway, you didn't need to know all of that. So since then I've been in and out of neurology. They kind of got it a bit better, and then I got COVID for a second time, and it just made it a whole lot worse. So I was diagnosed as being chronic by neurology, and I now undergo, because I've tried like so many different medications and had to deal with so many different side effects from it, but you have to do it to go through the process. So this is a really, really long story as to why we bought a TV. Anyway, I have chronic migraine. I now have Botox therapy for it, which is really helping. But the reason that we changed the TV is because our old TV, which is about 9 years old, actually probably a little bit older than that, started flicking. So we had 2 panels. So there's like 4 panels on the telly, and 2 of them were flicking. So like, now if you have epilepsy, epilepsy and migraines can be brought on by the same sort of things. So like flashing lights, bright lights, things like that. So I hadn't watched telly for about 2 weeks, until I kind of got to the point I was like, this is ridiculous. I literally, it made me ill. I couldn't sit and look at it. So we took the decision to change the TV. Now, because we're redoing the room is big enough to get a bigger TV. Now, my boys watch a lot of sport. My husband watches a lot of sport. And yeah, they got a much bigger TV. We've just looked at it as an investment. So since my husband and I have been together, which is 20 years next year, this is the 3rd TV we've bought. So we have always bought a really decent one, and it's always lasted. So, but one Billy bonus with this was we got it from Samsung, and if you bought one of their TVs, you got a free bot vacuum. So it's one of those little round robot vacuum cleaners that hoovers the floor for you. It's quite good. And I also, because I've done it through Top Cashback, I've actually got £190 cashback come in, which, you know, is a bonus again. So that's that. And then we have also ordered a sofa. Now the sofa we ordered back in December. It's now ready. Typical. We weren't expecting it until sort of middle of next month, but it's ready and being delivered on the same day our carpet's being installed. And that's £3,200. So it's been massively spendy. So the total of just those items is £10,674. I mean, when I wrote these numbers down, I went into slight panic and my heart was fluttering. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, when you're not really used to spending lots of money, it was quite, whew, yeah. So that's how much we have got to pay back. Now, these purchases have all been made on a credit card. And some of them will need to be paid by the middle of April, and some will need to be paid by the middle of May. So what I tend to do is, so we'll always pay them off in full, but we'll keep the money in a high interested account, and then we'll pay it off usually about 3 or 4 days before the payment's due, just to make sure that it goes through and we don't leave it to the very last minute, because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And that's my printer. So yeah, so how do we plan to pay this £10,500? Well, 11 if you include the laser hair. Now, we've been saving money for the last 12 to 18 months, and we intend to use it all. Now, available funds. I don't even know, I'm hoping you can see this enough. I haven't really zoomed in. So we currently have 2 savings pots that are our regular savers. So the one that's got £3,700 in, we were saving £300 a month from our budget for 12 months. And the other one with £3,100, the 100 I'm expecting the interest in. It's not in yet, but we're expecting about that. we were saving £250 a month. Part of it was a drip feed from another savings account, and the other half was from our budget. So that's two big lumps of money that we've got sat in high interest. I have also been doing the 100 envelope challenge over the last sort of year, and I got up to 1,172. Now this was designed for, or designated for, should I say, new car / uni. Now the new car was, the idea was it would be our balloon payment on our other car. And so I've just lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. It was for a blue payment on our other car, but actually I've decided to use it while it's there. We have £788 in home, and we will have £639 in two of our savings challenges. So the Sudoku roll and the Save the Colour. If I add those two up, it's £639. I've not quite finished them yet, but I should finish them soon. So if we add all of that up, that's £9,399. So slightly short on the 10,000. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the shortfall. So we're short of £1,275, which again isn't the end of the world, or masses in comparison. We currently have £2,850 sat in a high interest account, which is to pay off in full our credit card. So we had consumer credit card debt of about £6,500, which we've been paying off since April last year, and we have 0% APR up until July this year. So it was just over a year, about, I don't know, it was like maybe 15, 16 months, I don't know. So what we've been doing is I make one payment, so one of my weekly amounts gets paid off every month, and the rest goes into my Starling, so just as in a high interest account, just so I earn some money on it without having to pay interest. So the balance on the credit card is now £2,850, which is the money that I've got sat in the account. Now the 0% doesn't expire until July. So I've got 4 months before I have to pay interest. So I know I have said that we would be out of debt, consumer debt, this month, which technically we would be. But what we've decided to do, instead of starting to pay interest on this credit card, what we're going to do is use some of this money. So we will need, so if we take £1,275 off that £2,850, we will be left with £1,575, which means I can still make a monthly payment every month for the next 4 months using that amount that's left. And then I can repay this £1,200 across the next 4 months, which would equate to £318.75 a month. So I've just done it as a month rather than weeks. Now, as I said earlier, some of the credit card amounts need to be paid by mid-April and some by mid-May. So I've essentially got 2 months where I can budget for some of this. So I can essentially take less of this money, because what I plan to do is for the next 4 months is, if you've watched my budget with me, you'll see I have a £300 amount that sits in my budget that was for savings, which is what this 3,700 was for. But if you're long standing to my channel, you'll know that I started putting that money aside for when our mortgage rate goes up in September. So we learn to budget with £300 less every month. And we've been doing that since the beginning of, well, actually since May last year. So we plan to put £320 from our main budget towards this for the next 4 months. Now, 2 months will be done before all of this has been paid off on the credit card, and then it'll only be the last, so June and July payment. I would have taken money from this high interest account, and then I'll have to repay it back. Does that make sense? I hope so. But alongside this, let's move that, we still have our emergency fund. So our emergency fund at the moment, as of today, is £390. I plan to restart my 100 envelope challenge. I'm doing it slightly differently this time because I was actually really, really bored of doing it last time, and I never really allocated much money to it. So I'm going to do it slightly differently this time round because it's something that I still really want to do. And we also still have our sinking funds. So they're for our annual bills, for car insurance, for home insurance, for all of those things, we still have. So this won't touch any of our sinking funds. And also I'll need to pay £122 for the fit of the carpet, which there's a challenge that I'm going to take the money from. And I'm still using the growth challenge in here to save up for that. So again, I've got a couple of months because cash wise, I've kind of got enough floating to make the payments in full for the credit cards. So that's kind of the plan of how we're going to pay for all of this. So when I do my count up for March, most of this cash is still going to be there. Now we're going to have credit card debt, which isn't quite due yet. So, but from the end of April and the end of May, a lot of this money is going to disappear, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So I've thought a lot about this. I've spoken to my husband a lot about this, and before we even purchased the car and the TV, we had this kind of plan in our thoughts. So we didn't just go, oh, we're just going to go and buy all of this stuff, because it is a ludicrously high amount of money, and not something that we'll be repeating anytime soon. The most money we ever really spend is a holiday, and that's just because there's 5 of us, four adults and a child, so they generally become quite expensive. So yes, I'm very, very excited to finally have a living room that we can all fit on a sofa. It will be the first time in 8 years that we would have all been able to fit in the living room without somebody being sat on the floor, generally my husband, or on a chair in the corner of the room or something like that. So it's going to be really, really, really good. Now I was going to talk you through how I do my tracking of my day-to-day spending, but I think I'm going to do that in another video. I hope this sort of video was okay. I know it's quite different to cash stuffing, and probably maybe not something that everybody's into, but if you have watched it, please do give it a thumbs up. I do try and do something a bit different at least once a month, and just keep it real, because what I don't want to just get to the end of the month and go, oh yeah, no, all our money's gone, and you're like, whoa, where did that go? So fully open and honest with you all. We've saved really hard for this money, and you know, we've worked really hard for this money. So actually being able to splurge every few years, I think is perfectly fine. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm not quite sure when this video is going to go up. I'm not sure whether it's before or after Easter, but I hope you had a lovely long weekend, and happy Easter if you celebrate. And I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.